I re-hit Legend today with a team that I stole from Snorek, who hit Legend with that ages ago. Basically nearly a month ago at this point, I think. Yeah, they were able to hit Legend with this team here, still in the Jungle Cup. Jungle Cup was available a little bit earlier this season, and now we're going to have it back, and I wanted to try out this team. Because this team looks amazing, this team looks very solid, and this team looks like a team that can definitely deal with most of the difficult situations that you could come across with it. And we're gonna see it here right now as well. This team is going to be amazing with what we have available here. We're going to have the lead of Dedenne. Dedenne is going to be your main answer against flying type Pokemon. Flying type Pokemon are quite common in this current Jungle Cup meta, as you're going to have in the back here the Rockrunet, which is going to be really weak to those Pokemon. And to fit those two together, we're going to have in the back here also as our Scizor, the Quagsire. Quagsire has access to the move Stone Edge, but not only this, it's a ground type Pokemon with a ground type fast move, so it's gonna get out most of those flying types. By the way, look at this. Water Pulse is now, by the way, easier to reach this season by 5 energy, which now allows Arachnid to knock out a Talonflame like this, and we're gonna be able to win the first battle here. And we are going to move on to the next opponent, who is running Scrafty? Honestly, Scrafty is a very cool Pokemon. Scrafty is a Pokemon that utilizes the move, not Force Palm, it's called the Upper Hand, I think it is. And Scrafty is a Pokemon that barely anybody uses currently. I still think it's a fun Pokemon. It is a Pangoro in terms of the typing, but it has less pacing, but it has, for that, more fast move pressure and better bulk. But as you guys see here, we have a team that's very good against Scrafty. I even utilized here this Pokemon, like basically my Arachnid, to take up some of the damage of the opponent's Scrafty. Scrafty would have access as well to the charge move of Thunder Punch, but doesn't run it here apparently on this team. Mostly runs Foul Play plus Upper Hand, which is the recommended moveset on this Pokemon. And as you guys see as well, we're going to be able to just play out this matchup. Even though we're at, of course, a very good lead for ourselves, I count to utilize here my Arachnid to just soak up some of the energy. Could have also used my Dedenne, I guess. But we're going to see here that they're going to have a ground type in the back. We still kept, though, the Aqua Tail on our Quagsire here. And so I decided to go for the move, get the Final Shield, and I decided to let this move go here. Why do I do this? Because I expect that the opponent is going to be able to outspeed me, which they would have done anyway, which we see here as well. And so there was no point for me really shielding the move there at all, I think. Maybe I actually could shield there now. I could shield the second one. That was kind of silly. I know I did this. Now in hindsight, actually, the second one I should have shielded, not the first one. But because I went for another charge move, I actually would have been able to most likely reach an Aqua Tail there and would have been able to knock them out. But it actually doesn't really matter at all. Like, it really doesn't matter. I knew at this time, like, I was just so focused on winning with the Dedenne that I decided to just go and let the move go there, which is fine. It works out perfectly well. I knew I would win with Dedenne. I was never, like, as you can see as well, I didn't even use my shield there. So, like, yeah, sorry. I actually could have played this way easier if I thought a little bit more. Anyway, we're gonna think a little bit more against the Salazzle. Actually, the Mud Shot already did so much damage against the opponent that now we are going to be able to go for the Stone Edge already against the opponent's Guzzlord, going to do a lot of damage here, and we're going to be able to now threaten them with the only legacy move on this team, which is the Community Day move, Aqua Tail, on the Quagsire. This is going to be a very important move though on this Pokemon, because it's going to allow it to get to those moves super fast, as well as just does a lot of damage. It literally just does so much damage against all of the Pokemon right now. But now we're going to see here the Guzzlord. We're going to be able to go for the full farm now, but they're actually going to swap out into the Salazzle. We are going to use no shield yet. Poison Fang is coming through. We're going to have another move coming through. We're going to not use a shield yet again, because our win con is to debuff them here with a Bubble Beam, force the shield from the opponent, and then hopefully we're going to be able to farm them down even with our Quagsire, which already has 2 Aqua Tails stored as well. So our first Aqua Tail comes through. We are going to be able to get the shield there. They're going to swap out into the Thievul. And in comes, again, our Dedenne. We are going to be close enough for our player off that we are going to be able to knock them out here, one-shotting that Thievul. Goodbye there. And in comes now, let's see, is going to be the Salazzle, which is going to get maybe even farmed down in this point already. It is going to be the Salazzle, and we're going to try to go for the full farm down, because there's still going to be that Guzzlord lurking in the back. Poison Fang is coming through, farm down. Oh, we're actually not going to go for it. We're actually going to still go for another charge move here. That's going to be a bit risky, as there's still that Guzzlord. Can we still win the battle? Yes, we can. And we can move on to the next opponent, where we will face one of the most difficult Pokemon to deal with this team here. It's going to be the Abomasnow. Why is it so difficult? Because Abomasnow is going to be able to counter the electric type damage from our lead while doing quite a lot of damage back against us, as well as it's going to be very good against our Scizor, the Quagsire. But what we have here is a situation where we got a lot of damage against them already. And with it, we can go for the full farm down. And so the only thing that is a bit awkward now is that we don't have alignment, and that is going to stay a bit awkward. As the opponent decides to swap out into their Diggersby here, we're going to be in a tough spot. In a tough spot for sure, because there's not really a win con for me here at this point. They have an Altaria against 2 water and yeah, 1 ground, 1 bug type. Both of them are not really that great against flying and dragon type Pokemon. And so we are not in a good spot. But what we can do is we can try to catch a move here, which works out perfectly. The issue is they still survive with 1 HP. This 1 HP could be actually quite difficult for us, because we're gonna debuff them here with a Bubble Beam, and they're going to be able to now clear the debuff later on. And so this game is going to come down to the wire. Can we still win this one, or is this going to be impossible for us? We have to let the move go through, of course. The shield is that we can, like the shield that we want to use here is going to be on that Quagsire for sure, as we are going to be able to go for the water pulse. We're going to swap out into the Quagsire, and I'm going to go for the awkward here spam. There's no reason for me to go for Stone Edge here. What point is there? Like, there's literally nothing that really helps me if I go for the Stone Edge. I should let the move go here, and I make a mistake. I decide to use a shield here. I know that the opponent will get another Sky Attack eventually, and this is going to be now a non-debuffed one. And I do think I would have survived the debuffed one, but the issue here is I do think I still would have lost the battle, because they still had a shield, they still would have taken another awkward tail there as well. I don't think I had a chance there anyway, so yeah, good game to the opponent, as we're going to face a really horrible lead in the next one. A ground type against an electric type Pokemon is always kind of a bit tricky. It's so kind of funny, because electric type only has that one weakness, and that's such a big weakness that if you are in that position, you're most of the time screwed unless you're a Lantern, which you saw in the last gameplay video that I did on the channel. Definitely check that one out as well. It's going to be maybe linked in the end card. We don't know. We're going to see here, though, another Pokemon coming in that is not going to appreciate the Stone Edge. In comes the Rufflet. A cool Pokemon. I love Rufflet. It's one of my favorite Pokemon to use. It has access to Peck, which is so cool, together with a Rock Tomb, as we're now going to be able to go for the Parabolic Charge here in order to either knock them out or, let's see, maybe even get a shield here. Let's see what they're going to do. They're still going to get to a Fly, and that is problematic, because now we're going to see that they're going to nearly knock us out, but we're still at least going to get to another charge move against this Quagsire. While you might think it's irrelevant to go for a move like a Parabolic Charge against the ground type, it still kind of does a little bit, as you're going to see now the Drapion coming in. Bubble Beam is coming in as well. This is going to force mostly not a shield, but a little bit of damage onto them. They're going to let the move go, and they go for their own crunch. I decided to shield this move up. Even though they're debuffed, I decided to shield this move up, and we're gonna get a debuff onto us, as I can now go into my Quagsire, even getting another charge move off, which weirdly enough actually triggers the shield from the opponent. They swap out into their own Quagsire, knocking us out here, but we can farm them down, and like, what do they want to do now with a 1 HP Drapion? We don't know. We can move on to the next opponent. This team was so dominant. It was so much fun to play as well. But what you're going to see here next is going to be a Scizor. And I decided to do something interesting here. I decided to go for a Parabolic Charge and now swap out. We have an ABB style line. We want to get out the Flying type Pokemon. Look what we got out. The Flying type Pokemon. But my backline has a one big benefit against that Scizor. It is going to be able to resist the fast move pressure of this Pokemon. It's going to be able to resist the bullet punches from this Pokemon. And so what I have here now is still 2 Pokemon in the back that can deal with Scizor, while not offensively. At least here, yeah, the Bug Bite of the Arachnid can really deal offensively against Scizor. We're still going to have some charge move pressure, at least here with both of our Pokemon. With the Parabolic Charge on the Dedenne, I decided to use a shield here early on. This was a bit of a mistake, I think, at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter, because the opponent didn't get the boost. If they would have got the boost, this next Night Slash would be enough to knock us out. But at this point, we are going to be enough to knock them out. And this is exactly what we want to see here, as the charge move is going to connect. In comes Togekiss. And there's not a lot that I can do here. This is a double flyer team in the back, and a lead loss, I think there it was for us as well, with the Scizor. Yeah, so great day today. It's impossible to win this battle. Like, we have double fly in the back. We are supposed to bait out the flying type Pokemon with a Say Stop, and yeah, then have all the Denny as well against it. If this happens twice, you just don't have anything to do there. Like, this was one of the hardest answers possible to a Arachnid, and like, it is what it is. Still, this team was amazing. This team was absolutely fantastic. I think I went a total of 7-3 with this team here, and I'm not too surprised. Like, this is such a safe team to play. It's like, it has literally a clear instruction to it. Try to win the lead here in a case like this, where we have a flying type, of course, with our Dedenne. Use it in wisely. If you have a neutral lead, eventually swap out into the Quagsire to bait out a potential flying type Pokemon, so in the end game, Arachnid can sweep. And it's literally such a safe team. It has coverage in the lead for flying type Pokemon and saves up for flying type Pokemon, and most of the time baits it out. And you have a clear plan on how you want to run this team. And it's like kind of the teams that I always like because they're easy to showcase for you as well. They're easy for you to copy. And that's something that I can always look into for trying to find teams that I want to showcase, are teams as well that you can utilize in order to get a higher Elo with it. And so here, the Aqua Tail is coming through against the Altaria. Not ideal that they caught the move, of course, but I can't change it anymore. And the only thing that I can do now is, wait, go for the Aqua Tail? What am I doing here? I'm doing something clever. I know a Stone Edge is not going to be enough from this range. So what I can do is I can go for 2 Aqua Tails, keep my Quagsire and stuff taking a lot of damage on this Pokemon, and still utilizing my Dedenne here now to knock out the opponent's Altaria with a player off that we had stored earlier. It is not always going to be the best play. If I go for Stone Edge, just let my Pokemon go down. Maybe I can still even go for a player off against the Diggersby or whatever. But I wasn't expecting a Hyper Beam Diggersby, and this changes things completely. Hyper Fang on Diggersby is such an awkward move for us now, because I was completely the entire time calculating with Scorching Sands, of course, which is going to be super easy for us to deal with at this point. Hyper Beam is not. By now, at this point already, I will win this battle. Because the only way of them knocking us out is another Hyper Beam, and then we still have our Quagsire, which is not even close to being in a Fire Punch range. So while they had a funny move, it didn't really matter to us. So they're going to swap out now into their own Quagsire, a Pokemon that of course has access to the move Stone Edge. And so what I decided to do here is I decided to go for a shield. The shield is going to be okay. We're going to try to go for the Water Pulse because I don't really see them shielding this move up. They're in such a bad position otherwise. They shield this move up. I didn't really get this play, but it's okay. Because what do you mean with they were in a bad position then? Because of Bug Bite. Bug Bite is now a way too strong move because we see already it does so much damage, we're going to be able to farm them down. In comes the Gyarados against our Dedenne. In comes the Abomasnow. And what you might think, oh, what a silly play that you swap out into the Dedenne, into the hard counter straight away against the opponent's Pokemon there, and now you're going to get here the Abomasnow out. It looks so bad for you. This was actually the best way I think things could have happened to me here right now. Because if I didn't swap out of the matchup, my only answer to Abomasnow is kinda literally the Araquanid. I needed to have this Pokemon still available for myself. But not only this, I was able to get some energy here. And this energy is going to allow us to put them into range for an Aqua Tail. And so Aqua Tail is coming through here hopefully from our Quagsire. And then we're gonna knock them out, and then we're gonna win against the Gyarados, against the other Pokemon there as well. But the Gyarados had different plans. The Gyarados wants to go for 2 Aqua Tails and knock me out straight away. They're going to be energy dry, but I'm still going to be forced to use a charge move here because I can't risk the damage from this Pokemon. And so I hope and pray now that I can go for the full farm down against the grass type Pokemon here of Abomasnow. We do so much fast move pressure. We definitely can take an energy ball. And so we're going to win. Oh, wait. Are we going to win this battle? Yes, we will. And so we're going to move on to the next opponent. Jumpluff in the lead is honestly the best position I could imagine this Pokemon in. This Pokemon is kinda in an awkward spot currently. Most people are running the double nuke version of this Pokemon in order to deal with other Pokemon that you can't really deal with otherwise. Like, you kind of need to now have Energy Ball plus Acrobatics, because you need Acrobatics in order to do the most amount of damage after especially Aerial Ace got nerfed this season, and you need the Energy Ball in order to cover up, of course, like other kind of types with that. You're going to be able to hit ground type Pokemon and then for super effective damage, which is kind of just nice to have. It's just really nice to have. Acrobatics is the main move though for this Pokemon, and I think our Araquanid most likely is going to be threatened by this move very soon as well. As we will see here, the Bubble Beam coming through. And this is going to be now a hard-hitting move. It is going to be the Acrobatics coming in, and we're going to try our best to go for yet another Bubble Beam against the opponent to drop the attack even further, because now I would be able to survive with my Dedenne. I need my Dedenne in order to deal with this Pokemon, but a lot of times they're going to have a Ground-type Pokemon in the back with a Jumpluff in the lead, and this time around it is not the case. It is going to be the Morpeko. Morpeko, if it has Seed Bomb, it wins immediately. It has Psychic Fangs. That gives us at least a chance of winning this battle. Because we're shields down basically against the opponent. Like, we are one shield down. This is going to change literally now. The Aqua Tail is coming through. And we're going to be able to go for the Aqua Tail here yet again against the opponent. But I'm going to use a shield. This is going to be fine. This is going to be the aura we're coming through. And we're going to try our best here to win this battle still. Let's see, we're going to have the Child move coming in. This is going to be now. The Aqua Tail is going to be fine. We're going to try our best to go for the full farm down here soon. There's going to be the Oriole still locking us out, actually. That's kind of annoying. But we're going to have some energy on our Dedenne. And as long as I'm going to be able to go for the Parabolic Charge here, I should be able to boost up enough that I'm going to be able to also take a hit now from that Jumpluff. And so this is going to be it for this battle. We're going to be able to win this one as an Energy Ball is not enough to knock us out. And this Parabolic Charge would have been, but they forfeit before. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy this video. This is the safest team in my opinion for the Jungle Cup to climb. Check it out, try it out, and I will see you then. Bye bye.